his dad was the coach of Stone.
That's the father whose kid went up to Villanova for a second?
Went to Villanova's first year,
Yeah.
went to Davidson last year,
Yeah.
and then he transferred to Longwood this year. So he's been with 3 schools in 3 years.
And the coach, I wonder why he Yeah,
They
well,
chased the
they chasing that shit, yeah.
We have Coach DK here. We have Albany back home Albany. Mike, if you want to go first.
Yeah, sure. I mean, Dwayne, just to start, obviously, a competitive, like, opening 10 minutes. So what did you see that, just kind of it seemed to unravel there late first half and really carry into the second?
Yeah, we talked about trying to put pressure on Georgetown. I thought it was a game we could definitely compete in. Our 2 most competitive guys, DeMar Langford and Byron Joshua, were not available, and I thought we had the energy early, and I thought when they punched back, we kind of unraveled. I thought we lost the spirit that we wanted to have, and a big part to it was, we were changing defenses. They finally got a good rhythm on that, and then I thought they started to overplay, and we stopped sharing the ball. We had 9 turnovers at halftime. We were just dribbling way too much, and they took advantage of it, and they went on a run. And then in the second half, I thought they came out ready to go, which I expected, and then we kind of quit. I thought our competitive energy was not where we wanted it to be.
Mike, do you have any more questions?
With DeMar and Byron, I guess just what is their status?
Yeah, they're day to day. Byron's a shoulder injury he had during the American game. Somebody landed on him. He thought he was going to be able to play and just couldn't do it during shoot around. DeMar turned an ankle in practice. Unfortunately went down. And then today, ironically, Amari and Amir were game time decisions. Luckily, they were able to play. I thought Amir played really well. We're optimistic we can get Byron and DeMar back for Wednesday's game versus Columbia.
Mike, was DeMar, was he with you guys?
No, we left him back in Albany, and he was with a PT over the last couple of days.
Mike? And then, I think you said, you felt like the team quit there, like, yeah, I'm assuming you mean like early second half. How does a team try to recover from having that happen in a game?
Yeah, I think their spirits were high. I thought they believed. I thought we came out ready to go. Kanai was playing on the ball some. I thought he got fatigued. And then I think they were a little surprised that, Georgetown dialed it up, and we tried to warn them for it. But when it happens, it puts you on your heels, and you got to respond to it. And I don't think we responded the right way. You play these games, one, you want to rise to the level. But 2, you got to learn from it. And, we have a couple more high major games. But, to be honest with you, the Columbia game is going to be really, really hard. So I think we're learning how to compete at the right level. I think the one thing that troubles us, a lot, Mike, is that our identity and our energy comes from when the ball goes in the basket. When it doesn't, I don't think we have the grit that we need right now.
Mike, yeah, you said, you want to learn from something like this. I guess, what would you want that lesson to be, for this group tonight?
Yeah, I think, 1, you got to compete every possession. 2, you got to adjust to how the game's played. 3, you got to execute. There were some possessions where we were hanging around the game and, we botched some plays. You can't do that. You just can't give possessions back because they're priceless in these games.
Any final questions, Mike?
Good. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
For you were talking about the second half and the start of that. Did you see anything different other than them just being maybe a little more tuned in?
Yeah, I thought they were more dialed in. I've been on the other side of the games before, and I think sometimes when you play the bye games, your guys, they come in, they feel like they can just kind of turn it on and do what they need to do. And then, all of a sudden, especially coming out of the locker room after halftime, after spirited conversations, guys focus a little bit more. They're a little bit crisper in their passing and what they need to do. And then they get the energy behind the bench and the crowd. And, they got a couple lobs, got a couple breakouts, and it's hard to come back from that.
And the work that Peavy was able to do from them, just kind of disrupting you guys on the defensive end, the blocks and the steals. Just, I know that's indicative of what he's done all year, but what have you kind of seen from him?
Yeah, he's got great size at his position. I think not only can he make shots on the perimeter, but he can guard guys. Mari Marshall was, an all-league player for us. He can really break guys down. He's had big games against, Seton Halls of the world and whatever have you. I thought what he did is when we tried to isolate him, he crawled underneath him and turned him over on the ball. And that kind of spooked him, Amari, and that, disrupted us. We need Amari to score the ball. I think, PV, when you look at your team with Georgetown, you have a lot of really young prospects, and then he's a seasoned guy, and I think he's the connector, for them in a lot of ways, because I think, Malik and Thomas get all the praise and conversation, rightfully so. But I think if you're going to win games, you need PV to be really good.
Hey, Coach, you talked about the ball sticking a bit. Was that just, you feel like, was the guys trying to do a little too much when the game's flow changed, or do you think it was something Georgetown was doing, or a combination of the two?
Yeah, I'd say a combination of two. I think, our guys wanted to kind of make a home run play to get us back. I think their intentions were in the right spot. And then I thought, what they were doing was they started to kind of get into the ball and then also overplay a little bit. So now you can't reverse the ball and run your offense. So now guys put their head down, try to drive it. And then now you talk about size, and we haven't played against, guys that size so far this season. So now all of a sudden you can't make the reads that you want. And I thought that just kind of frustrated us, made us kind of stagnant.
18 free throw attempts in the first half for you guys. What was working with your aggression that was allowing you to get rewarded by going to the free throw line?
Yeah, we drove the ball. We talked about, hey, we're going to go after these guys, and, we want to try to drive it, get guys in foul trouble, try to get PV out, try to get Sorber out, and it was working to an extent. And then I thought they made it harder for us to drive. They crowded the paint. They were helping off. They got into the ball a little bit more. We got some calls. Earlier I thought we had a couple that we needed to go our way that didn't. And I was proud that we, came into halftime. We're 18 for 18 from the free throw line. So we managed the game pretty well from that respect. But then we turn it, and then we have some possessions where we break down, and then all of a sudden you're in a little bit more of a hole than we should have been.
Coach, being down a couple key guys, and then with the travel coming from Puerto Rico to Albany back down to D.C., to play your first-time major opponent. Do you kind of just, with those factors going against you, do you kind of wash your hands of this one and move on to the next, or are there any big takeaways or lessons that you have from this one?
Yeah, I'm not a big excuse guy. The trip to Puerto Rico was great. Unfortunately, we go 0-2 in teams in the D.C. metropolitan area. But, I thought we did some good things. I thought we recovered. And I said to our guys, like, whoever's available to play is going to play. And let's go after these guys. Let's try to get the game. A little disappointed by how it turned out. Now we got to take the bus right back, and we got to catch our breath and get ready for a really good Columbia team. But I think the biggest takeaways is no matter who you're playing, American, UMKC, Georgetown, Columbia, BU, you got to compete at a high level if you're going to try to win games.
You mentioned switching defenses. Do you normally involve that much 2-3 zone in your attack? No,
but we thought just kind of with the size, we wanted to try to give them a different look. And then I think Peavy's a good jump shooter, but you look at like team-wise, they haven't found a way to make the shots I think that they want to make. I thought today, especially in the second half, they found a way to make them. Malik buried some, Peavy buried some. So we wanted to try to, force them to beat us from the perimeter. And I thought we got some stops, and then we lost Peavy a couple of times. It really hurt us in the second half.
Speaking of Peavy's defense, it was sublime. It was excellent. But he also QB'd the team somewhat.
Yeah.
Particularly from the elbow. Did you anticipate that, and what was your response?
Yeah, a couple actions that we anticipated, playing through the elbows, kind of zoom pin DHOs, or they're kind of throwing it over the top to Sorber. And we talked about like impacting the ball more, really heating it up and try to get him on his heels. Easier said than done. He's a good player, strong kid. He's very poised, very seasoned, and we couldn't turn him over the way, or I shouldn't say turn him over, but disrupt him the way we talked about. Yep.
John Titel from Hoops HD. Coach, even missing Byron and DeMar, you had 14 steals. Is it that Georgetown was a little sloppy, you think, or are you just an elite defensive team, not when keeping them under 100 points, obviously, but in terms of stealing the ball, I was very impressed.
Yeah, it wasn't as elite from a points perspective. I think it's credit to the coaching staff. We went through their actions a lot. I think our guys kind of got a beat on the ball and started to understand like when to anticipate some things, and I thought we were on our toes. And I think that's a big thing. I do think they run really good offense, but some of it, I think you can kind of sniff it out a little bit at this point in the year. So I thought we found a way to disrupt them and turn them over at some times. And you got to fly around a little bit, but I think you can kind of anticipate where some of the ball is going to go. But unfortunately, we just don't have the size both to impact the ball on the perimeter without DeMar and then inside the paint. So I think eventually they broke us down.
Anything else?
Thanks, guys. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. Good luck. Good to see you. All right, brother.
Physically, they did. Yeah, no doubt.
We're going to have Coach, Sorber, and Peavy. Yes, sir.
Thank God you weren't there.
My phone and everything else.
Hey, what's up, B?
Everyone set? I'll let Coach open up the statement.
Yeah, so obviously we got a really quick turnaround, and Albany came in here a little banged up, missing two starters, two veteran starters, experienced guys. So thought it was a hard-fought battle, especially that first half, right? We were doing a lot of fouling, and I think defensively we were very disciplined the first 20 minutes. But I thought we made the adjustment. But I do know Albany's going to be a competitive team in their league, right? Once they get healthy, again, been scouting them, and I think that's going to be in just about every game we play as we move forward. We still were the younger team on the floor, and I thought Peavy in particular showed his veteran. I thought he dominated the game from start to finish until we took him out with about 8 minutes to play. But again, that's what veterans do. He's been in a lot of basketball games, but this is. I thought we shared the ball, with 20-some-odd assists, 41 baskets, and because I don't think we shot a lot of free throws. We're getting in front of the rim. We played in transition, of which we wanted. Again, another game where we're just trying to stack improvement, and that's the thing that we talked about. I thought we had good balance all the way around, inside and out, but I was really impressed by us just sharing the ball. Didn't like some of our careless turnovers, and a lot of those happened early and then late. But I thought in the middle part of the game, we just took over the game. And again, an opportunity for us to grow. So I'm excited about that, but a really quick turnaround as we got to play here on Monday. And again, I'm really excited to watch the football game tomorrow as we cheer on our Commanders to try to get back on the winning side.
Ed, to kind of build off the thought of those middle 20 minutes, I know we talked the other night about how that was probably as good defensively as you'd played. Was that 20 minutes about as good offensively as you guys have played this season?
Again, development, improvement, we keep talking about that. Again, I'm going to come back to saying, when you're playing a schedule the way we're playing, we're trying to get continuity, chemistry. 17 guys all in, right? And the buy-in has to be important when you have all these new pieces. So 17 equal 1 with us. So that's what we talked about on the offensive side and defensive side. And I thought we made a jump forward. And now we got to make another jump as we get ready for a UMBC team that is going to be a threat from three.
How is Julius doing at this point?
Julius is day-to-day. He got a little nicked up in practice. Obviously, we're concerned about that. We'll have more on him probably Monday. But he had a pretty decent injury, and we're concerned about him.
The bigger picture, you're through November at this point. And how would you kind of evaluate what you guys have been able to do in the first month of this?
I would say, again, another fair question as far as, our chemistry is growing, right? And I think when you look around the country, teams that have incredible chemistry, teams that have continuity, teams that have a will, a purpose, and a fight as a group are the teams that come out successful. That's what we're trying to do. That's exactly what we're trying to build. And it's not going to happen overnight, right? The competition's about to pick up, but we want to make sure, hey, what's it feel like to win? What's it feel like to share the ball? What's it feel like to see the ball go through the basket? When you're building programs, those are the little things you got to win before you win on the scoreboard.
For both of the student athletes, they went to the free throw line 18 times in the first half, but only 2 times the second half. Just what were your communications on the floor with each other to kind of hunker down and play better defense as opposed to some of the fouling that was going on in the first half?
I'll just say we weren't being disciplined in the first half, and going into halftime, that's all we talked about was just our scout and just stay disciplined and play our defense. And I feel like we did that in the second half.
Yeah, we thought that we played terrible defense in the first half. Coming into halftime, we had to talk about it, and we talked about keeping our hands to ourselves, not getting dumb, stupid fouls for them to get to the free throw line. So that's what we came in the second half to do, and we stopped them from shooting free throws.
For you, Coach, it just seems like with each game, Caleb looks more and more comfortable. Are you seeing the same thing, and is it just him simply just being more comfortable with the minutes that you're giving him?
You know, Caleb is a steady Eddie, right? And he has to go against this guy every single practice. So you have a veteran guy who's doing a great job leading, but also challenging him in McKenna in practice. I've been blessed to coach some incredible defensive players in my career, not just as a head coach, but as an assistant coach. And I will put Micah Peavy up there with any one of them. Defensive players of the year I've coached, all league players we've coached. I don't know if there's a better on-ball defender in the country. I don't know if there's a better off-ball defender in the country with respect to his length, his toughness, and anticipation. And he's going to have to continue to lead the rest of the group. So Caleb going against that daily, and we tell him, make it hard on him. Nothing easy, right? Everything that Georgetown will get, we'll earn.
And you talked about 17 being together as one. Near the end of the game, those last 4 or 5 minutes, I saw the bench and how they were reacting to some of the guys who hardly get to play and all the enthusiasm. Just as a coach, I know sometimes they're out on the floor and you kind of want to get back. But as a coach, how does that make you feel that it seems like these guys are starting to bond a bit?
Well, you get really proud because, again, we've had some dark days, right? And when you can see that enthusiasm and you can see guys cheering for one another, even the guys that don't play mega minutes, it's something about chemistry. It's something about team. It's something about jubilation and joy for others, right? And that's what I had, right? I took a step back and I didn't look at it from a coaching standpoint. I looked at it more from a mentor, that the coaching staff is doing the right job teaching chemistry and teaching partnership and caring and sharing for one another.
Coach, UAlbany's a team that likes to play this up-tempo style. They have guards that like to get downhill. With how your team responded today, are there any adjustments that you would like to make as you go to play UMBC, which is another team that likes to, ratchet up the pace?
We want to run, right? If that's, if that's the pace we have to play at, again, sometimes you have to adjust, right? We tell our guys we have to camouflage, we have to be chameleons. We want to play in transition as much as we can. It's very hard to score against set defenses. Right, really, really hard to score against set defenses, and if that's the way we have to play to have success, then that'll be really good. I'll play in transition as much as we can with the athletes that we have.
Coach, you were able to empty the bench today. How good is that for you to just work on different combinations and see how these guys work with one another?
It helps chemistry, like, you know what I'm saying, like, and if we do what we're supposed to do in some of these games, it will allow us to rest some of our guys knowing we have a quick turnaround, but it also lets other people get on the floor, look at different combinations, and again, the eye in the sky don't lie. So when people get hurt, people get sick, things happen in their life, next guy up, opportunities there, because you're not going to play 17 guys, you're not going to play 12 guys, you're not going to play 10 guys. You got to get that rotation down tight in order to build chemistry and continuity to get ready for the Big East.
Peavy, you're a renowned defender. You even picked up, I think, a social media nickname, Straps or something. I can't remember exactly what it was. But you quarterbacked well today from the elbow. Talk about that.
I feel like that's just coach trusting me, putting the ball in my hands to make some decisions, and that's the other guys making the shots. So it's not just me. It's everybody. It's a collective. So I appreciate my teammates.
We had 15 turnovers. These two guys combined for 7. Just want to put that out there. Humility.
Ed, you guys had 58 paint points today. Obviously, higher level for you guys than them, but was some of that just being patient to make sure those bigs and guys got into the paint?
Well, between Peavy driving the ball, Thomas's size, the athleticism with Burks and Fielder, right? We had an advantage there. That was a big part of the scout. It was get to the rim. And that'll be a big part of the scout as we grow. We want to race to the rim. We want to get to the rim as much as we can. And I thought 3 consecutive games, maybe 4 consecutive games, it was a race to the rim, I think, that we're winning. Right? So we want to stay in that plus category in paint points.
Micah, one for you. I know during media day, I think it was, you had a big smile on your face when you talked about the offensive role you could have under Coach Cooley. Was today kind of the envisionment of what you thought you might be able to do when you got here to Georgetown?
Yeah, like I said, I chose the school because I trusted what Coach had to say. I wanted to play with some freedom and be able to make some mistakes. I feel like I'm able to do that here, and yeah, when you're able to do that, you can blossom and play your game. Sure.
From Hoops HD for Coach. I want to ask about three-point shooting. You came in today, the team was shooting under 29%, today over 40%. Do you think it's more about having the right guys take them, or having guys take them at the right time, or having 10-toed threes or something else?
We've been practicing a lot on our three-point shooting, and again, obviously having the right guys shoot them definitely helps. But how many uncontested shots can we get? We do want 10-toe threes, and that's the terminology that we use. How many 10-toe threes that are uncontested? Because that's what kids practice. Not many kids practice contested dribble up, 1-2, 35 dribble, step backs. Those are hard shots to make. Steph Curry can make those. Dame Lillard can make those, right? LeBron can make those. Those guys are called Hall of Famers, and they're GOATs, right? We don't have that yet, so keep it simple.
Thomas, how would you kind of size up what it felt like playing in an offense that was as crisp as it was there in that middle half of the game?
Can you repeat the question?
How would you kind of size up how it felt to be playing in an offense that was as crisp as it was there in that middle half of the game?
Basically, we, like, coming out of the second half, we was just trying to push the ball, and try to, like, get it inside, because that's where UAlbany was weak at. So we was trying to punish the paint, and then once they start, coming down in the paint, then we kick it out to our shooters. So it was just like whatever was there, we just try to read it and make it happen.
And Ed, how would you kind of size up Drew in a game like this, where they obviously weren't quite as big, but at the same time you're down a big at that point, so there's probably a little bit of yin and yang there.
Right.
How would you kind of size up what he was able to do, and frankly how important he's going to be moving forward?
Yeah, versatility. And again, I thought he had enough game minutes last year to be able to play. We're playing him at two different positions, as we'll play Thomas at two different positions. We try to play PV at 4 or 5 different positions as well. The more positions you can play, the more opportunity that's going to be there. If you just pigeonhole yourself as being X, I don't think that allows you to grow. So I was really proud of Drew today as far as his growth and his ability to adapt, right? Because, we didn't expect that to happen, obviously, 2 days ago. So I thought he gave us a big punch off. Definitely gave us a big punch.
Thank you, everyone.
Appreciate it. See you guys Monday.
Good job, 29-year-old.